Our analysis of today's breaking news. That's the NPA's decision, of course, to withdraw those fraud charges against the Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan and his former South African Revenue Service deputies Opa Magashula and Ivan Pillay. Well, constitutional law expert Professor Shadrack Gutto joins us on the line now. Good afternoon, Prof, and thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk.
Thank you very much, and thank you to you and the listeners.
Let's kick it off, Prof. Just explain to us some of the political implications of today's decision by the NPA to withdraw those charges, and where exactly does this leave the Hawks and SARS right now?
Well, I think the first part of your question is really what does this mean? And I would say it does demonstrate that the National Prosecuting Authority was under pressure and did not act appropriately, because it would have indicated much earlier that we are still studying the reports and we will communicate later. Instead, the new National Director of Prosecutions went ahead and said we are going to prosecute. So he needs to indicate that there was something wrong there, and if he doesn't do so, it will appear that is a person who is not able to exercise the role of a National Prosecuting Authority director. Secondly, I would say that today's developments are significant and very important, because we have a situation where the national economy and so on has been waiting for this and hovering and diving, ducking and so on, going up and down, because they thought that the Finance Minister was going to be prosecuted. Now, this has been put to rest, and I think that that is important, but it is something that has caused us a lot of damage. Who is responsible for the damage that has been done? We need to look into that. Thirdly, I would say that I think the National Director of Public Prosecutions was correct in really indicating and in detail that looking at the case, it was not really a criminal matter. They may have violated laws of the country, but it was not criminal violation of the laws. And that should be emphasized as we move forward. So I think that that is important, and we should have seen that right from the beginning, instead of grandstanding and saying we are going to go ahead with prosecution of the Finance Minister and so on. He should have looked at the matters. I think this time he has done so we can say, yes, he has corrected his wrongs, but he has done more damage. So what do we do with him?
Professor, when it comes to these recent ructions at SARS, at the NPA, are we seeing a really unhealthy pattern emerge here where state institutions are being manipulated to fight political battles? What do you make of it at this point?
Is that correct, what you're saying, that state institutions are being manipulated, being used to punish people who they want to punish and so on, and manipulate the law in many ways, not just to punish those who they want to punish, but actually manipulating the legal process. And therefore, the rule of law is being damaged. Constitutionalism is being damaged. And where are we going as we go forward? And that is what we need to correct, and use this particular case as an example to say, from this, what do we learn and how do we move forward? Because I think that there's a lot of infiltration and misuse of public institutions for political ends. And sometimes it's not just for political ends, for personal ends of people in power. And we need to deal with that as we move forward. But I think that today's development is important. And I would like to say that even though the National Director of Public Prosecution was wrong in not looking at the matter before he made all sorts of pronouncements which damaged the economy, finally he's come to realize he's done something wrong. The question is whether do we retain him or do we remove him?
Professor, should Shaun Abrahams give up his post and resign from the NPA in the interests of restoring the credibility and the integrity of the NPA? It has taken quite a knock in recent weeks.
Yeah, I think that he should resign because I think he damaged the economy. He damaged the reputation of the rule of law in the country. I don't know why he did it. He didn't have to do it. As the National Director of Public Prosecutions, he had to look at the cases and say, is this a case which is winnable? Is this a case where there is no aspects of favor and prejudice and so on as required by Section 179 of the Constitution? And also Section 1, which requires accountability, transparency, and openness, but also Section 35 that protects people who are accused or who are going to be on trial or who are being detained. And then Section 237, which requires people performing public institutions to do so diligently. He did not operate diligently, in my view.
Professor Shadrack Gutto, our constitutional law expert, joining us on the line from Pretoria. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us on the SABC News Desk.